sick of people at ESPN or SportsCenter who think they have their heads on their shoulders but really don't? Well, it's time for the Jimmy the K Sports Show. We're going to give you the most urgent sports news. Now it's time for the Jimmy the K Sports Show. Sit back, buckle up, and get ready for the #1 sports show on the web. Here we go, friends. How you doing out there, friends? It's me, your host, Jimmy the K. You see me each and every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This is, yet again, the #1 sports show on the web. You will not find one any better than this show. Okay, maybe you will. But hey, anything to make yourself feel good, right? Actually, it is the #1 sports show on the web. Alrighty, we're going to get right into this because this show could last hours and hours and hours with the plethora of sports news that I want to get into. So, we're going to start off, we're going to hit this ball, and we're going to hit a home run with this show. Why? Because this is the #1 sports show on the web. And last week I mentioned that we were waiting from former Major League pitcher Greg Olson to get back with us on some questions that we went into to ask him about his Major League career. We're still waiting on that. We'll wait patiently until he can get back with us. So, on to the sports news and the really sports news. Really fun sports news. Alrighty, I told you if you follow the Facebook page that I was going to take the gloves off. There was sanctions put on SMU Mustangs earlier today, their basketball and their golf club, due to some lying that the coaches did. So some sanctions were put on the team, and I'm taking the gloves off against the NCAA because, while I'm a firm believer that if a cheater cheats, they need to be punished, I'm also a firm believer the right people need to be punished. Did the student athletes of the golf club or the basketball team know what the coaches were doing or what Coach Larry Brown did? Absolutely not. They did not know what he was doing. They didn't know that he lied to the NCAA. So why should the student athletes at SMU be nullified playoffs for the next 3 seasons? Tell me that. Why? Why do you take something that the coach did, Larry Brown of the SMU Mustangs, and take it out on the players? Do you think that's really sending a message to the school's organization or to the school's boosters? Absolutely not. It's not doing anything. It's punishing the players for what the coach did. All the other punishments that went along with it, losing the ability to talk to players, giving them the opportunity to come to SMU, the ability to recruit, that is, for Coach Larry Brown. Yeah, take that away from him. Take that away from the golf team. But do not, and I repeat, do not take it away from the student athletes, something that was not done by them. I totally understand that people cheat, but the right penalty needs to go. The crime needs to fit the punishment, and in this case, the crime does not fit the punishment, as the student athletes of the club are being punished for the coach's actions. Why? I have absolutely no idea, and I could care less. But what I do want to do is I want to plead with SMU's athletic department to stand up and say, hey, we're going to repute this. We're going to appeal this. We're going to, because our student athletes should not be penalized for what the coach did. Granted, the coach admitted that he lied under oath. to the NCAA during the time of his interviews. So Larry Brown should have to do the punishment. The punishment should fit the consequences, and in this case, it absolutely does not. You're taking it out on the students that committed absolutely nothing in this case. Take it out on the coach, but do not, and I repeat, do not take it out on the student athletes. Absolutely do not. All right, to our next story that we spent a few minutes on that. There was something that I posted on the All About Sports Zone page. If you follow us on Facebook, just go to the page. If you're not a follower of the page, just go to facebook.com and just look up All About Sports Zone. Should be the first one up on top. Or if you're a friend of mine, just look for the page to the left. I believe it's posted to the left on my profile as well. It's actually pretty funny. My brother-in-law is a big New England Patriots fan, and I actually got a kick out of this because the Green Bay Packers posted something earlier or the NFL on CBS posted something earlier that I just got a kick out of. The advanced stats for Aaron Rodgers, QB rating, infinity, QB status, Jedi, interceptions, never heard of them. Hard count effectiveness, 1,000%. Is he good? Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at if you put Aaron Rodgers and you put Tom Brady's first 3 games up on the board, they almost mimic each other. But who's got the better quarterback rating? Is it Tom Brady? Is it Aaron Rodgers? It's Tom Brady. Who's got the most passing yards? Tom Brady. And a lot of people are gonna be like, well, Tom Brady's good. Yeah, okay, fine. But they're probably cheating over there. They're probably cheating over there. They deflated the balls last year, which there's no evidence of that. Why? I said this last week. Why would Tom Brady or anybody in the Patriots organization need to deflate balls, hold your breath, when everyone in the world knows that Tom Brady's probably doesn't need any balls deflated, okay? So there you have it. They're probably cheating over there. Aaron Rodgers has he's got a Super Bowl ring, and they've never cheated. They've never done that. They've never done anything bad. Clay Matthews is the best. I will admit the Green Bay Packers are a good club. I will admit the New England Patriots are a good club. I do think if you put the two together in the Super Bowl, that absolutely, and this is I have no bias for either team, but you put both teams in the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady's winning that Super Bowl. Period. End of discussion. He's out for revenge after the whole Deflategate, after the whole "you're going to suspend me, but yet you didn't, and I got away." Some people in the NFL are saying he got away with it. I don't know. I don't care. Well, it's all water over a bridge. So with that being said, who do you think's better team? The Packers, the Patriots? And if you have a problem with anything I'm saying here, somebody might be watching from Timbuktu or from Toronto that may be a New York Giants fan and go, hey, the Giants are even better than both those clubs. Well, actually, they're not. I'm sorry. There's no NFL team right now that's better than either one of them clubs. Period. End of discussion. Well, maybe the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't think the Arizona Cardinals have the ability to do what the Packers or the Patriots can do as well. With that being said, I got a kick out of that. I think you'd get a kick out of that. While Aaron Rodgers is a good player, I do not see him winning a Super Bowl against Tom Brady, and I have bias towards neither. So, I'm more along the lines of, oh crap, we've got Brandon Whedon for a quarterback. Okay. I will admit I do have a bias to the Dallas Cowboys, but I am also a Denver Broncos fan. So while the Cowboys may stink, I also have an alliance to the Denver Broncos as well. So hey, I got that for me, right? Now for the biggest news in all of baseball. You know, some teams have already clinched playoff spots, but I will tell you, I told you at the beginning of this year that this would happen. Of course, I didn't think that it would happen with Texas on top. I thought Houston may be in the top three. I thought Seattle, Seattle and Texas were going to be at the bottom. But I thought Los Angeles Angels would be up towards the top. Houston would be around 3. And Seattle would be, 4. And Texas, somewhere in there. But I did say that the AL West this year would mimic the AL West of the past. Did I not? It will come down to this last week who wins the AL West and who gets into the wild card. I've got a good friend of mine over at a radio station in the Houston area that's an Astros fan, and I discussed this with him about 2 weeks ago. I said, the only club that I am really worried about catching the Texas Rangers or the Houston Astros is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And he laughed it off. Huh, that's funny, but it's not going to happen. Look at the standings right now with 6 games left to go in the season. 6 games. The Houston Astros a game and a half behind the Texas Rangers in first. The Los Angeles Angels 2 games behind the Texas Rangers in first. Will this AL West and a wild card come down to these last 5 or 6 games? Absolutely. This division from this year forward is going to look like the AL East for years to come. And once Seattle gets healthy and gets good and Oakland gets better, then you're going to have a 5-team race of teams that are clustered together that's going to go down to the last game of the season. With that being said, who do I think takes the AL West? Do I think the Rangers take it? Do I think the Astros take it? Do I think the Angels take it? Right now, with 6 games left, last week I would have told you the Rangers had it. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have told you the Astros had it. By the end of this week, the Los Angeles Angels may have it. So, with that being said, it's a 3-team race right now. You've got Texas, you've got Houston, and you've got the Angels. Do I think Texas and Houston makes the playoffs? Absolutely. But I would, if I were you, watch the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Why? I'm not too worried about them knocking Houston out because Houston's never really bullied the Angels before. The Rangers have knocked the Angels out of the playoffs before. The Angels remember that. Believe you me, nothing is forgotten in the world of sports. Period. Nothing is ever forgotten in the world of sports. Speaking of nothing ever forgotten in the world of sports, how many of y'all heard the story of the Nationals and Jonathan Papelbon and Bryce Harper going at it in the dugout? Biggest news happened yesterday or the day before. Something was said from Bryce Harper to Jonathan Papelbon. Jonathan Papelbon went after Bryce Harper, put his hand around Harper's neck in a chokehold, put his hand in his face, and started John. The manager of the dugout, the manager and other coaches had to pull the two apart. There's tension over in that Nationals dugout. But where's that tension coming from? Is it coming from the lack of success that they've had this season? Is it coming from the lack of support they have from their manager? Is it coming from a lack of discipline they're getting from their manager? I couldn't tell you. But what I could tell you, there's stories going around who's to blame, who's to blame. I don't care who's to blame. But by all means, Jonathan Papelbon should be suspended for the remainder of the season. He should not be in the dugout. Many people want to know if the Nationals are going to try to trade Jonathan Papelbon after this season. You know, the Nationals are going to try their hardest, but I can guarantee you, down to a donut, that Jonathan Papelbon's going to stay, and they're going to eat his contract because no one wants that on their club. They see Papelbon, they see his aggressiveness, and they don't want that in their dugout. You don't want germs in your dugout. I've said that over the years in many shows, from this thing being a little podcast uh, audio show to being a vlog. You never want a germ in your clubhouse. A germ is definitely going to kill anything, any liveliness that you can have in the dugout. Pretty ugly stuff. I saw the video of it, and ooh, it's not something. If I'm the manager, he's suspended, he's done. You pack your bags, you can go home. Much like what the Tigers did for a player there in Detroit who was not performing. He wasn't performing. They told him to go home, and they basically told him to go home because he was underachieving, not because, he was ill or his wife was giving birth. But sorry, kid, you're underachieving. Get out of here. Go home. Think about it. Think about what you have done this season, and maybe come back next season at a better caliber than what you were this season. Now to the teams in the major leagues that are in. For the first time since 2006, the New York Mets have made the postseason. Pretty cool stuff, huh? If you're a New York fan, that's pretty awesome. Are the Yankees going to make it? There's a possibility. You see the Mets and the Yankees in the playoffs, pretty cool. See Texas and Houston in the playoffs, that'd be pretty cool. To see San Francisco and Los Angeles in the playoffs, pretty cool. But as baseball season has gotten to an end, what we have seen is teams like the Chicago Cubs, who have not seen the playoffs since God knows when, since the 90s, maybe before then. You see teams like the Cubs making it. I will definitely make a bet with a friend of mine, Troy Bussell. He's a former radio colleague of mine at Biz Radio in Houston, Texas. You're going to hear this first on the All About Sports Zone page. The bet is, Troy, the bet that I have with you, my friend, is I'm going to do this. I'm not going to eat crow because that's gross. But what I will do is, if the Astros overtake the Rangers in the AL West, and the Rangers are knocked out by the Los Angeles Angels. No, that was not the bet that we had. The bet that we had was that it would be Houston and Texas in the ALCS, and Pittsburgh and Chicago in the NLCS, and that would be Texas and Chicago in the World Series. I know that's not going to happen. Wee little brain of mine knows that's not going to happen. But my bet is, if that happens, if the Rangers make it farther in the playoffs than the Houston Astros, I want for you, for a year, on your Facebook page, whenever possible, I want you to find a photo of a Ranger logo, much like what I have been doing the last week or so, and post that to your page. Once a month, once every 2 weeks. Often enough that people know that you lost a bet. But my bet with you, my friend, is if the Houston Astros make it further in the playoffs than the Texas Rangers, I will find photos of the Houston Astros, much like what I've done with my uploaded photos over the last week, and put those up for the next year adequately, whether it be once a month, whether it be every couple weeks. We'll work the details out, but one way or the other, people are going to know that we lost the bet because they're going to know that, hey, I really want Houston to go far, but I don't want them to go farther than Texas. Or I really want Texas to go far, but I don't want them to go farther than Houston. That being said, we've got a bet going there. It'll be fun, Troy. Yes, it will. You're going down, my friend. Oh, other sports news. Pete Rose, Major League Baseball, have already discussed him being reinstated into Major League Baseball. I'm not real fond of this. Basically, if they reinstate him into baseball, people like Barry Bonds are going to come back, 20 or 30 years from now when they're old and decrepit and be like, reinstate me in baseball, reinstate me in baseball. Well, guess what? No. We don't want to reinstate you in baseball because we know of the asterisk that has been placed next to your name. You know, People say forgive and forget, but sometimes you can't forgive and forget. Sometimes you just can't. And when Pete Rose bet against his own club, that's just something that's just inexcusable. It really is. Really inexcusable. Not something that I would excuse. Excuse the pardon me. With that being said, our last story for this week on the Jimmy the K Sports Show is that of Week 5's coaches poll, the AP Top 25 coaches poll. This is as of the AP and the coaches. And remember last week I went through, told you what the top 25 were for the coaches, and I went through and gave the rankings of my own as well. I will do the same this week because I don't necessarily believe that the rankings should be as the coaches see them or see fit. So I'll give you ratings from the coaches, then go through and give you the ratings as to my rankings for Jimmy the K. This is the latest in the top 25 coaches poll as of week 5. Ohio State number 1, Michigan State number 2, TCU 3, 4, Baylor, Ole Miss 5, Georgia 6, Notre Dame 7, LSU 8, 9, Florida State, UCLA 10, 11, Clemson, 12, Utah, 13, Alabama, Oklahoma 14, Texas A&M 15, 16, USC, Northwestern 17, Wisconsin 18, Oklahoma State 19, 20, Stanford, West Virginia 21, 22, Mississippi State, Florida 23, 24, Cal, and 25, Oregon. Basically, Oregon and Cal are tied for 24, which other notables are Michigan, Arizona, Kansas State, Miami, North Carolina State, Boise State, Duke, teams like that failed to make the top 25. My rankings for the top 25 are pretty similar, but some of these go as follow. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Michigan State. 3 Baylor, 4 Ole Miss, 5 TCU, Georgia 6 Notre Dame, 7 LSU, 8 UCLA, 9 Florida State, 10 Utah, 11 Clemson, 12 Texas A&M, 13 Oklahoma, 15 Texas A&M, 14 USC, 16 Wisconsin, 17 Northwestern, 18 19 Stanford, Oklahoma State, 20 West Virginia, 21 22 Mississippi State, 23 Florida, Oregon 24, and Cal 25. That's my top 25, not as seen fit, different from that of the coach's top 25 poll as of week 5. Once again, I thank you for stopping by the Jimmy the K Sports Show. And once again, I want you to continue to pray and continue to support Team Avery's C15 as her battle with leukemia continues. Good things have happened, but we need to continue to pray. We need to continue to support, and I'm going to continue to support. I know each and every week that maybe I have not said anything about it, but it's deep in thought. It's deep rooted in my mind. And the thoughts and prayers are there with you, Ivory. Again, the page for you to donate is the first page on the All About Sports Zone page. If you have time, I will also do a giveaway at some point of a Babe Ruth photo that I have, and all proceeds of that donation will go to Team Avery C15 and her battle with leukemia. With that being said, again, I thank you for stopping by the Jimmy the K Sports Show. I am your host, Jimmy the K. And remember, there are 3 easy ways that you can get in touch with me. 3 easy ways you can get in touch with me. And that's Facebook. Facebook.com/AllAboutSportsZone. You can like me on Twitter at JimmyCursey1. Or you can email me at AllAboutSportsZone. That's one word, AllAboutSportsZone @gmail.com. Or if you're a Google Plus subscriber, just search for Jimmy Kersey or Jimmy Kersey1 or All About Sports Zone. I'll be right there. Until next week, I'm your host, Jimmy the K Sports Zone. See you next week, 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Peace out.